Yes, folks, good evening. Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. A quick video just to break us back into it before Celtic return to action on Saturday against Motherwell. We're going to do a wee bit of an international roundup. Never done one of these before, which is kind of incredible given that the channel's been going 5 years and there's an international break what feels like every 5 minutes in football these days. We'll start. In fact, before we come to the end as well, before we finish the video, we're going to touch on Celtic's AGM, which was held today. We'll get to that. First of all, we'll start with the main man, the informed man in Lewis Palma, who played both games for Honduras as they lost a two-legged tie to Mexico in the CONCACAF Nations Cup. He got a brilliant assist in the first game. I'm sure you've seen it. It was shared widely on social media. Brilliant sort of deep chip through ball right onto the chest of the striker who finished it. He did have an injury scare though. I'm sure you've been reading all about that in the last couple of days. But he played the second game in Mexico and he played 97 minutes. I think he came off just before the extra time in the game. So hopefully he's okay. We can't afford too many injuries in that part of the pitch because Abada and Maeda are out long term. Would be down to the bare bones if Palma was to drop out injured as well, and he's really, really key for us. So it's a long journey back, obviously, for South America. Hopefully he's fine for the weekend. Moving on, Alistair Johnston, another one with long travels. He did play both games, but the first game only 5 minutes off the bench for Canada against Jamaica. He played the majority of the second game, coming off just before 5 minutes before full time. They lost that again, two-legged tie. 4-4 in aggregate, and Jamaica won in away goals, which has obviously still been applied in that competition. Strange really, because in European football they've ditched away goals, but that's a tough blow for Alistair Johnston as well. Hopefully he can come back and pick up his form again, because I think he's just been off it the last 2 or 3 weeks, last 2 or 3 games for Celtic, maybe not at his usual standard. That can happen. We all go through periods in any line of work where we're a bit off for him, particularly in football. So hopefully he can get back to somewhere near top form. Moving on, the big difference from most international breaks is that we didn't have any players away with Japan because Kyogo, Maeda and Hatate are all out injured. Kyogo hopefully not injured, but didn't travel as a precaution after that head knock that he got against Aberdeen. So safety first for him. Hopefully he's fine to start on Saturday. O did travel with South Korea. He played 20 minutes off the bench in their 5-0 win against Singapore, but no minutes against China in the second game. He's one that coming back into the squad should be full of confidence after that brace that he got late on against Aberdeen. Paulo Bernardo played 1 full 90 minutes for the under-21s of Portugal. They lost 2-1 to Greece. Again, Bernardo's one who's been in and out. He'll be wanting to come back, stake a claim. A lot of games coming up, which is a time where Brendan Rodgers will probably need to use the squad through Christmas, and like we've seen already, but with Hatate out, it's chopped and changed between Bernardo, Turnbull, Awata's had minutes here and there, so there is an opportunity there. Bernardo will be wanting to stake his claim for that. Next up, it's the Scotland boys. McGregor played just about all of both games against Georgia and Norway. He came off just before added time in the 3-3 draw against Norway. Ralston, he did get 20 minutes off the bench against Georgia, and Greg Taylor again, he was similar to McGregor and played nearly both games. So you always feel with McGregor, the least amount of minutes he plays, the better, because over the years, I mean, I think back 5, 6, 7 years, even when Brendan Rodgers was first here, he's always played an incredible amount of minutes, Callum McGregor. So any rest he can get is beneficial for us, but he didn't really get one over those 2 games. For Scotland, the Scotland team 2 draws, but they should be in good spirits after qualifying. Moving on, Matt O'Reilly, we're getting there. A lot of players away on international duty this break. Matt O'Reilly made his first start for Denmark in their second game. It was against Northern Ireland. They get beat 2-0. Came off after the hour mark. It's a feather in his cap to get that first start for Denmark, though. They've always got a pretty decent side, Denmark, and I think he deserves that for the form that he's put up this season for Celtic. So hopefully he'll be full of confidence. They did secure qualification in the first game where he wasn't involved off the bench. Carter-Vickers was away, played both full games against Trinidad and Tobago for the USA. That's probably dispelling the rumour that he couldn't play more than one game per week, which kind of popped up after he missed that game for us with that knee, or issues around his knee, as Brendan Rodgers called it. So good to see him playing a lot of minutes, I suppose, because you didn't want that to be the case, that he was going to have to be in and out because they couldn't overload him. I think that tells you his knee must be in decent enough health to play both of those games there. And rounding off the rest, Liam Scales got 90 minutes for Ireland against the Netherlands. A narrow 1-0 defeat. He didn't take any part in the second game. Mikey Johnson played in both games, 20 minutes off the bench against the Netherlands, 80 minutes against New Zealand. Holm got 60 minutes against the Republic of Ireland for Norway under-21s, and Marco Tilio, the forgotten man, got 60 minutes for Australia under-23s against Saudi Arabia in their 3-1 victory. So good to see that Tilio is actually playing. I don't know when or if we're going to see him for Celtic at this rate. Brendan Rodgers' comments on him well known at this stage. But there you go. That rounds up the exploits of all of the Celtic players that were away on international duty. I don't think I've missed anybody. If I have, I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments. But it was a lot of players. I just dread doing one of these videos when we have got Kyogo, Maeda and Hatate all away at the same time as well, because that's a lot of players. It's almost the majority of the entire Celtic squad. So a lot to cover. Hopefully the guys come back in good shape. As I say, it's at the start of a really key period for Celtic. The festive period is always really important, particularly domestically, because there's so many games close together. And now, having navigated those tough away games in the first section, we should have a slightly easier run of fixtures from now until that derby at Celtic Park before the new year. We've got the winter break to come after that, but this is a really key period. It starts with Motherwell away, and then we've got the small matter of going to Rome to face Lazio, and I mean, we've still got a chance. We're still actually alive in the group. Even to finish second at this stage, which is laughable considering how badly it's gone so far. That'll be a big game for us. It'll be really, really tough going there. I expect the team should take confidence for their first performance, and hopefully after losing that late goal they should be hugely motivated to put right the wrongs of that night, because we should have took something from that game. In reality, we should have took 3 points from it. So hopefully we can go over there and get something. But then it's St Johnstone away, and quickly the games start piling up from there. So a massive period for Celtic. Let's hope all the guys come back healthy from the international break when they return to training, most of them probably tomorrow. And then as we move towards Saturday, hopefully we'll have as close to a full squad to pick from as possible. Obviously the long-term guys like Abada, Hatate, Maeda, we know they're all out, but hopefully everybody's back fit. And we can pick up where we left off against Aberdeen. It was a really good performance. Obviously Aberdeen very poor in the day, but I think for us, lots of chances created, our highest scoreline of the season, so that should do confidence to World Good. Back at home again, majority home games coming up. I think 5 of the next 8 are at home in the league, so we've got to really hammer that advantage home. And Saturday against Motherwell is a good opportunity for us to build on that 6-0 win against Aberdeen. Now, before I leave you, tonight, we'll touch on the Celtic AGM. I wasn't there. I've only been reading the accounts of people who were there today. These things are always pretty boring. It seems there's a lot of formalities, there's a lot of resolutions to pass that always pass. 99.9% of them go through. There's questions. Some of the headline issues that the club's dealing with at any given time are brought up through the questions and the discussions throughout. But and there's a lot of those just now. There is a lot of those just now. But I think the two that stand out to me from what I've read today are that Ross Desmond confirmed that in his dad's lifetime and in his lifetime they've got absolutely no intention of selling their stake in Celtic, and that the process to bring Mark Lawwell to the club as the head of recruitment came about because Ange Postecoglou, when he arrived at the club, said that he'd worked with Mark Lawwell at the City Football Group, of course, where he was a loans manager, Mark Lawwell, at CFG. And Ange Postecoglou said that he wanted to work with Mark Lawwell. What a coincidence that is, that you bring in a manager from Japan, an Australian manager from Japan, and he wants to install the chairman's son as the head of recruitment. Yes, they did work together at the same company, but I find that one a wee bit hard to believe. But there you go. Read into that what you will. I think there's more than an element of nepotism in the way that the Celtic board runs. I think that's clear from the fact that the CEO of almost 20 years left his position and 18 months later was reinstalled as the chairman. I think that tells you everything that you need to know about the way the club is run. I certainly think it doesn't strike me as the best way. That's just my opinion. I think that a football club with ambition to get better at the highest level and to improve itself should be trying to recruit the best people possible at all times. I know that Celtic aren't the biggest club in the world and they can't pay the most money in the world, but I do think the recruitment process for people in key positions, particularly off the field positions, should be to bring the absolute best people the club can possibly find, and I don't think that strikes you as being the case all the time, or much of the time at all recently with the Celtic hierarchy. So that's my opinion on it. You can let me know your opinion in the comments below, like this video. We'll be back on Friday with the starting 11 prediction for Motherwell. I hope you found that semi-entertaining, a short international roundup, just to get us back into it before the weekend. I'll see you on Friday for the build-up to Motherwell. Thank you.